The Steelers defense.
Sam Darnold. I'm a Vikings guy, everybody, by the way. 4 touchdowns yesterday. Leads the league in touchdowns. The Vikings are 3-0 with wins over the 49ers and the Texans. Darnold this season. What in the world? Look at the passer rating. Only quarterback with 100 passer rating in each of the first 3 games. Yeah. Something or nothing.
Listen, nothing as far as the Darnold piece of it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings are right now a testament to coaching. And Kevin O'Connell is great, and Brian Flores is great.
Crushing.
Sam Darnold, I think, is still Sam Darnold, and just like I told America a week ago,
don't you dare.
Watch out for Derek Carr, pumpkin watch. I'll tell you now, watch out for Sam Darnold, pumpkin watch, because I know there is this hive of people led by my dear friend Colin Cowherd and my other friend Greg Rosenthal that have wanted Sam Darnold to be a thing for a decade. It's not going to happen. The bigger something in this game to me, Greg, was Texans. This is the second straight game that Texans offense hasn't hummed.
You don't think that's a floor? I thought it was a floor.
Well, last week they struggled against Chicago offensively. The week before, their offense worked, but their defense struggled against Indy. Like, this team has not been, the instant contender I think that we thought it would.
224 total yards for C.J. Stroud and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah. We're talking about Sam Darnold, which is something, Nick.
Okay.
Let's come on now.
You're a Sam Darnold guy or just Vikings?
He's a Darnold guy.
Look, I'm a KO guy. I'm a Kevin O'Connell guy.
He's
former
great.
Patriot.
Like he has put this young man in a situation.
He's not that young anymore, bro.
It's no stress. He's younger than me.
What is he?
There's no stress.
No, he is younger than
26?
Joe Burrow.
He has
It's shocking.
27.
He has all these weapons around him, so there's no pressure. It's like, okay, let's just get the ball in our hands of the playmakers. They got a great offensive line. They can run the football. Yeah. You got a running back that can catch out of the backfield. Right. It's just a matter of just don't turn the ball over, which I'm not saying he's going to be over 100 passer rating for the season. He's going to have a moment. So your pumpkin watch.
Pumpkin watch.
I don't think he'll turn into a pumpkin.
Watch, right.
I don't think he'll turn into a complete pumpkin, but he'll have a game or two.
What do you mean, complete pumpkin?
So you think he'll have a good season? You think he'll have a really nice season? Did you pick them for the playoffs?
No.
Oh, they got a shot.
That's the other thing
that's
that's really problematic for my Bears is Detroit's 2-1. Green Bay.
Okay, that's the end of the clip. Pumpkin watch. This says nothing about Sam Darnold. What? Sam Darnold has been a top quarterback in the NFL. He is tied right now for MVP candidate with Josh Allen. Okay? I didn't see this clip until way too late, and I'm really mad. I wanted this to post on Monday, and now I'm filming this at 2 a.m. in the morning. I was really upset when I saw this. I was making food because I was watching the Monday Night Football games, and I was just like, all right, let me play something in the background, and I saw this, and I'm like, no, I wanted to talk more Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. You guys know that I've been so high on them. I got to do this real fast. This will probably be the last time I do it, because especially when Nick is saying that Sam Darnold's not that good and the Vikings, yada, 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 I got to show my receipts here that for months I've been saying this. Sam Darnold will dominate with Minnesota Vikings versus Giants week 1. I had Sam Darnold will start over J.J. McCarthy with Vikings, shock everyone with success. I said that 2 months ago, July 3rd. I got Colin Cowherd, stunned Minnesota Vikings are win now team Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy. That was back in August. Daniel, I'm confident Minnesota Vikings can win with Sam Darnold over J.J. McCarthy. With Sam Darnold over J.J. McCarthy, June 13th. So literally months. Confident Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings will shock the NFL, June 12th, 2024. So yeah. And then when J.J. went down, I said the Vikings can be a true contender with Sam Darnold. Don't panic, back on August 14th. So yeah, this one feels good. I'm not going to lie. Beating the Texans is a huge win. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Texans. Giants are kind of whatever. But listen, you all know that I praise Kevin O'Connell. That was my whole thing. You're putting Sam Darnold with Kevin O'Connell. This is going to be a match made in heaven. This is going to be great. This is going to work. But that does not mean that you need to slight Sam Darnold. Yes, Kevin O'Connell is absolutely positively putting Sam Darnold in a consistent position to succeed. No question about it. But Sam Darnold is making some unbelievable throws. He's having a better season than Patrick Mahomes right now. No question about it. Right? Sam Darnold is having a better season than 99% of the quarterbacks out there. And Carr didn't go on pumpkin watch. Like, that's absurd. The Eagles just had great defense. They smashed the run game. There was nothing for Derek Carr to do that game. I mean, the Eagles defense just played great, so don't put that on Derek Carr just playing poorly. That's just nonsense. And like Greg Jennings said, he's going to have a bad game. Patrick Mahomes has had bad games. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud. Like, every single quarterback has a bad game, multiple bad games. No one plays flawless start to finish. So why are we hanging that on Sam Darnold? Like, that'll be special if he has a bad game, has a couple interceptions, on a fumble. Like, that's to be expected. So that's nonsense. And like what Greg Jennings is saying, they have all these weapons, but all the weapons haven't been there yet. He's not sitting here on a stacked team full strength right now. He hasn't. So I just think that's nonsense. And I said before that I think Sam Darnold and Jefferson are the best quarterback wide receiver duo. And people got really mad at me. And it was on a First Things First clip. Because Nick said it was Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And it seems like what I said, this is aging. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. People said I lost my, what did they say? I forget. Lost my credibility when I said that. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. The Vikings have just been playing great. This isn't just about the Texans. The Vikings made the Texans uncomfortable the entire game. First drive turnover, right? It was just smothering. The Texans had the ball, first drive turnover. The fans were going insane. You could already tell that the Texans were uneasy by that experience. I mean, just the home field advantage, just showing how big it is in Minnesota. I mean, the way how Darnold's movement in and out of the pocket is just so confident. And it's just, when he moves around, it's not desperate. It's not happy feet. So when you're saying that things are just so easy for him, it's not, because he's still doing the work. He's still making beautiful throws on the run. And it's purposeful. It's demonstrative. Like, he's throwing missiles to Jefferson. I mean, it's just, their connection right now is unbelievable. I mean, it's not only the scripted plays, it's also the off-script plays. Like, that's the thing. If you're saying that Sam Darnold's only good in the very beginning of the games, you're only in scripted, and once you kind of get him out of the pocket or things start to get a little bit, uneasy, then he doesn't play as well, then you could say, okay, it's really all Kevin O'Connell, and Sam Darnold's just ready to fail here. But that's not the case. And when he does have all day in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart, man. You give someone as good as Sam Darnold time in the pocket, a short field, and extra possessions, it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Just extra possessions and a short field. You don't even need to give him a clean pocket, man. It's over. 7 points. Let's go. He wasn't missing any open guys. He was hitting tight window throws. He had a touchdown in triple coverage, okay? Triple coverage. That was just such a beautiful pass. Perfectly timed, perfectly executed. When you do something like that, it just needs to be a perfect throw. Kevin O'Connell can't do that. So again, I don't take this as me knocking Kevin O'Connell. I think Kevin O'Connell's the top coach in the NFL. Like, I've emphasized that many, many times. The only reason why I'm emphasizing this right now is because Nick said it's just all Kevin O'Connell and not Sam Darnold. And that's just not accurate, man. It's just not accurate. Because the great thing about Kevin O'Connell is that, even though the passing game was working so well and they had control of the game, they also just never abandoned the run either, which is just smart coaching, right? They still took care of the football. They still made smart plays consistently throughout the game, both offensively and defensively, for that matter. And I see the Texans as a top team in the NFL. So the 49ers is a top team in the NFL. Now, granted, of course, 49ers weren't 100% full strength. I get it. We don't have to talk about that. But the Vikings are absolutely for real. Like I've said in my previous videos, like, what is their ceiling? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know the ceiling of any team right now. Seriously, the way I'm looking at this season has been wild. I'm just looking at all the notes that I have scattered all over, and I'm just like, it's just who can win, right? Who's going to come away with the win? And right now, I do know for certain that the best teams that are playing right now, consistent football, who really make me the most afraid, are the Buffalo Bills and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm looking at all these other teams, and they've all shown me enough moments where I'm like, I don't know, right? I don't know. The Packers are a tough team to know because Jordan Love's injured, right? He hasn't been playing, and obviously the Packers have been playing great. Sorry, Minnesota Vikings fans. But it's just hard because you got to see what this team looks like truly with Jordan Love. We only saw that first game. Offense looked good. It was week 1, weird field against the Eagles. Just a weird game to kind of break down, especially after we see all these other games unfold. But right now, it's the Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is just on fire right now, which we'll talk about in another video. But so are Sam Darnold and the Vikings. And like I said, they're not even full strength yet. And that defense is rocking and rolling. And so, I mean, you got a great defense right now, a great offense. I mean, like, that's what these great offensive head coaches need, is a great defensive coordinator. Because a lot of times when you have a great offensive coordinator, or, you know, just a great offensive mind as your head coach, oftentimes then defense does kind of start to lack a little bit, right? There's kind of those issues. And it's why the Chiefs have been able to be so good, because Andy Reid has Spags, and it's just like, that's as good as it's going to get from a defensive coordinating standpoint. And he's not going anywhere. He's happy. He's with Kansas City, winning rings, being with Andy. He doesn't have to worry about any head coaching nonsense, press, none of that. Still getting paid great money and winning in a great culture, right? Like, what else could you want? And at the point of this time where how old he is, he's not going anywhere. I mean, that's the biggest luxury right now in the NFL. So the fact that the Vikings kind of have a situation with a great, just pretty much the balance of Kevin O'Connell, because Kevin O'Connell really comes from everything from such a friendly, more kind, or that this whole thing, like, don't yell at players, really supportive. And that's why I said why I thought Sam Darnold was going to thrive in that environment, right? Really smart, hyper intelligent Kevin O'Connell. And then you got the more gritty, physical, hard-nosed Brian Flores. And it's a good balance, because in a way you kind of need both. You really do. You need a coach to sometimes be like, yo, eyes on me right now. And sometimes you need a coach who's like, hey, man, things are going well. It's all good, right? Like, you need both. I just had a little PTSD for a second there. But so, yeah, I mean, I think the Lions are playing uneven right now. The Chiefs, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I'm impressed that they're continuing to win, even though they're not playing well. But I mean, I don't know if that luck runs out. I'm sorry. I mean, like, yeah, you lean on saying that the Chiefs are still going to be a great team because it is indeed the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, you know that's going to be a deadly duo. I'm trying to look for my other notes and for some of the other teams. The Falcons are uneven. The Eagles can be uneven. The Cowboys, I never really thought they were a threat. The Texans, I do think that they're a top team, but the Vikings just undressed them, right? I mean, just completely. The Bengals, nowhere to be found. They're 0-3 now. The Ravens, they're 1-2. Again, these will all be tough teams. Like, even if you had to face the Bengals right now in the playoffs, Super Bowl, it's going to be a tough team, tough game, right? Like, all these games can be tough. You face the Chiefs right now, Super Bowl, tough game. But the best playing teams right now, that's why I'm looking at all my notes, because I'm like, there has to be another team. But there's really not. It was the Saints. But the big caveat with the Saints was that they beat the Panthers, bad team, and then they beat the at least with Bryce Young, and then they beat the Cowboys, who I said I never really thought that they were that great of a team, and then the Eagles beat them. And I think the Eagles are a really good team and a top team in the NFL. But I mean, if you said Eagles versus Vikings right now, who's it going to be? It's like, I mean, I'm going to have to go with the Vikings. So I'm just seeing this just be, you got to be excited for this, right? You're a Minnesota Vikings fan. You got to be excited. You also got to be frustrated. And I'll tell you why. I forgot to say this at the top of the clip. Like, this is such a throwaway segment on this. Sam Darnold, Vikings, 3-0 start. And just think about how dominant the Vikings have been, how impressive the start has been for Sam Darnold and just the Vikings as a whole. And yet there has been so much more talk about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears failing, right? The Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson failing. Joe Burrow and the Bengals failing, right? More talk about the Philadelphia Eagles failing versus the Falcons. Now, granted, some of those teams, especially like the Philadelphia Eagles, are wildly popular teams. So, they're going to get a lot of attention, whether they're good or bad, not unlike the Dallas Cowboys. So some of it is like understandable to a degree. But when you're this good, when you're this atop of a team, you can't be ignored. You shouldn't be ignored. I thought for sure even Colin Cowherd at the top of his show was going to talk about this. But instead, the top of his show was talking about Caleb Williams. And I'm like, what? What are you, like, come on. You're the Minnesota Vikings guy. You got Kevin O'Connell on your show. You've been singing the praises of Sam Darnold. This is your moment. Let's go. And it wasn't there. He talked about the Vikings and Sam Darnold in a couple interviews. Mark Sanchez, and I forget who the other quarterback was. He had a quarterback interview, which I think I reviewed as well. And it's just like, no, there should be more. There should be more. It's not fair. Even when they beat the 49ers, it was more about the 49ers losing than about the Minnesota Vikings winning. And now they beat the Texans. And the Texans were a major favorite team that people loved going into this season. And rightfully so. I think C.J. Stroud's a stud. Right? I think C.J. Stroud's a top quarterback in the NFL already. I mean, I had him at the top of my list, him and Jordan Love, ironically, for MVP candidates going into the season. Like, obviously completely blind, just trying to guess who I think it would be. And you got the score 34-7. I mean, Minnesota Vikings, just unbelievable. And the thing is I don't understand why people just automatically make the assumption that this is just like misleading. When we look at certain games and certain wins, and I talk about this being the advanced eye test, and we talk about certain games and records being misleading and whatnot, or we just talk about the record being the record. You got to play who you play. And I always talk about this, that you can look great and still lose a game, and I can still come away thinking that the team that lost is the better team. And I see a lot of fans struggle with that, especially in the comment section, because they just always want to say, so-and-so beat them. Haha, that means they're better. And it's like, that's not what that necessarily means. It means that sports is complicated and can be really messy. And it's just not that cut and dry. And like I always say, if it was, you would always just pick the team with the best record over the team with the worst record. And it would be like, boom, right? Gambling and betting would be the easiest thing ever. It would be the same teams winning the Super Bowl again and again and again and again and again and again. And that's not the way it unfolds. Yeah, you have stretches where sometimes that feels like that's happening. But that's just not the way how it works in practice. And so sometimes a team could be 3-0 and be awful. Just not that good, fool's gold, or they could be 0-3 and actually be pretty good, but just things are not bouncing their right way, right? It's kind of the Bengals in this situation. I don't know if I would say the Bengals are really good right now. I think they're probably good. I think they're better than, say, the Cowboys, and yet the Cowboys have a better record. I think even the Giants have a better record than them, right? So it's just, it's complicated. And the reason why I'm kind of going on this little mini tangent is because there's nothing misleading about the Vikings record. Nothing. There's nothing misleading about Sam Darnold's play and his connection with the weapons that he has. Nothing. This isn't one of those situations where he does just dump the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, or that Jefferson is such this insane wide receiver, which he is, but so insane that just any quarterback could be good with him. There's not a wide receiver that exists in the world that's like that, quite frankly. You need someone to be able to consistently throw you the ball, consistently anticipate, get you open, right? You need to be enough of a threat throwing the ball and running the ball. Like, there's a lot of missing pieces. There's a lot of things that play, right? I mean, we've seen this time and time again. Look at how OBJ was with the Cleveland Browns, couldn't get anything going. He goes to the Rams, boom, wins the Super Bowl in 6 games or less. So, like, make no mistake about it. Like, you need a quarterback to get stuff done here. So this idea that Sam Darnold is not pushing this thing forward just as much as the rest of the team is. This is the definition of a team effort, start to finish, top to bottom, left and right, from the coaching to the players to the quarterback, everywhere. So that's why, and they're doing it against good and great and top teams. They didn't have a run where they played the Panthers, the Cowboys, and the Browns or something, or the Giants, right? That's not what they're doing. And it's not one of those things where you're like, oh, they beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are always usually a top team. They had 12 wins a few years in a row. That means they're a really great team. And it's like, are they? I don't know. It's kind of hard. They're good. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're awful. Sometimes I don't really know, right? Then it becomes a little bit messier. 49ers are a top team. Well coached. The Texans, top team. Top quarterback, top weapons. Yeah, they're not playing their elite best ball right now, which I totally agree with that. But this game against the Texans, the Vikings were a big part of that. A big part of that. And they did better against the Colts, against the Texans than any other team. Both offensively and defensively. So that means something. So I reject this idea that Sam Darnold's on Pumpkin Watch, which would then put the Vikings on Pumpkin Watch, quite frankly. That means the Vikings are fool's gold, according to that. And I do not see that. There's no evidence for that. No reason to believe that. No misleading victories. No give me games. No moments where it's like, oh, yeah, the Vikings beat the Texans, but the Texans were down 3 guys and this and that. And that's not what's happening here. It's just not. So be on the lookout for the Vikings to continue to improve, to continue to get better. And Sam Darnold and the Vikings' best games have not even happened yet. I have a pretty good track record on predicting what's going to happen with the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold. Maybe I'm just getting lucky week after week after week. Maybe I just got really lucky making that prediction at this point. What was that? Over 3 months ago. Over 3 months ago, I said that this was going to happen. Maybe I just got really lucky. It's definitely possible. Like I always say, predictions are nonsense. Predictions are wrong 50% of the time. And it's just hard. And so you do your victory lap when you get it right, and when you get it wrong, you just hide it under the bed. And which is why I don't really ever like to do victory laps or even emphasize predictions or even make predictions at all. But for whatever reason, I couldn't stop myself with the Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. If you look at many of my clips, I don't really make a lot of predictions at all. And I don't know what possessed me to be like, this is going to happen. This is going to be a thing. Look out. And it's because I'm a firm believer in great offensive head coaches. And when you have the raw talent of a quarterback like a Sam Darnold and you combine that together, this is what you get. And it's not up for debate. We have as real as proof and evidence. It just doesn't get any more real than this. This is not, we're not making predictions anymore. This isn't hypothetical. This is what we see right here. This is the real deal. And I can't wait to see it continue. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Sam Darnold's 3-0 start? Is it something or nothing? And are Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings on Pumpkin Watch? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.